Hello again. This is Derek Seagraves, an evangelist in the Apostolic Pentecostal movement, here to support that movement through the podcast called A Certain Sound. We're building faith and delivering doctrine on our regular episodes on Tuesdays, so please subscribe everywhere that you can. Follow us on Facebook. We'll put up new episodes there too, even. But I'd most like to be in your phone. If you could subscribe there through a podcast app, that would be wonderful. And that's our usual programming, is interviewing on important subjects to build faith and deliver doctrine. But in between those episodes, I like to give some short material, and what I'd like to give you today is a book summary of a very important book, a very powerful book on a very important subject. And that book is Self-Discipline in 10 Days, subtitled How to Go from Thinking to Doing, written by Theodore Bryant. Theodore Bryant has been or was a behavior specialist for 10 years before he wrote this book, and he wrote a short, actionable book with, I would say, an ugly cover. If you find it on Amazon, I'm going to link to it on Amazon in the show notes so you can find it and purchase this book because it's worth buying. But I think it has an ugly cover, but it's full of gems. It's full of value for you. And one of my favorite things is finding a summary on books that I wish I could have read but just haven't found the time to, and so I want to deliver that to you right now. Because self-discipline is one of those things that's just key to getting things done, key to achieving your goals. We all have things that we wish we could do, be it learning the guitar, or reading more, or achieving a degree. We all have things that we wish we could do. And it all takes self-discipline. Self-discipline is the currency that we pay for the achievement in our lives. And without self-discipline, nothing works. You could have the best game plan, the best advice in the world, and without self-discipline, you just can't do it. That's why people hire coaches, to get self-discipline from outside of themselves. But this book teaches you how to develop self-discipline within yourself. So again, this is Self-Discipline in 10 Days, and I'm going to recap it, summarize it for you. I'm not going to save you from reading the book, I don't think. I think you'll get a lot of value out of reading the book, but I want to give you what I liked about the book. And first off, I like that it's actionable. It's not a book of theories. It's not a book of ideas or research. This is a book full of action. In fact, it'll give you homework. It'll give you little, very small writing tasks to do, to reflect, to write out your big fears, things like that. And it's not a scary thing to do, but I like that it asks you to act on its wisdom. So it's very actionable, and it uses the power of paper, which I'm a huge fan of. I make lists for everything. I take notes on everything, and I believe in the power of the written word. But um, self-discipline, first off, there's two things about this book, about self-discipline or on self-discipline, that I think are extremely important. And the first off is that this book approaches self-discipline as a skill. So often we think of self-discipline as a trait, something I have or I don't have, and that is not the case. And this book makes an excellent point of this, that self-discipline is a skill. Really, self-discipline is a misnomer. It should be called self-management. And that gives me hope. That gave me a lot of pleasure in reading that self-discipline is a skill and not a trait. Now I don't have to go outside of myself to get self-discipline. Now I don't have to develop some new personality trait, become a different person to be disciplined. It's just a skill that I'm going to work on. And I've developed skills in the past. I learned how to ride a bike once even. And so you've developed some skills too. And so self-discipline is not beyond you because it's a skill. Next is, the next thing I really appreciate about this book is that they look at the challenges of self-discipline in a new way. At least it was new to me. And they draw out that there is a part of you that doesn't want to be self-disciplined. And of course we can all agree with that. There's a part of us that doesn't want to be self-disciplined. Usually it's the part that's acting right now. You know, yesterday we had grand plans of exercising and eating right today, but today, me right now, doesn't want to do that. And so they have a little bit of fun with that, and they call that part of you hide. And Dr. Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, sorry. That part of you that comes out and kind of messes everything up. And while they do label that as a separate part of you and in your hide, maybe the bad part of you, they make a big effort of encouraging you not to make hide your enemy. That part of you that doesn't want to be self-disciplined, don't make that your enemy. So often we want to push that down, we want to crush it, we want to bury it, hide it in a closet, forget that we were ever that way. And this book takes a more, I believe, a more realistic approach and says, make Hyde your friend. So they say think of Hyde as a child version of you, and I think that's very applicable. Think of Hyde as yourself as a kid, and little kid you doesn't want to go to school, and little kid you doesn't want to pick up his room. And they even encourage you to give Hyde a different name from the book that is amicable. That's something that you can enjoy. And so now what we're going to do through the practices of this book is we're going to get Hyde on our side. We're going to bribe Hyde. We're going to put Hyde off for a little while, like you would a little kid hanging around you. I don't know if you've worked with kids, but I worked with a youth group, and the younger kids in the youth group, they just have to be managed. They have to be put off a little bit sometimes. Other times they have to be bribed into participating. Sometimes you have to hype them up. And that's how you're going to interact with that part of you that doesn't want to be self-disciplined. And those two were very powerful for me. That self-discipline is a skill, and there's a part of you that doesn't want to be self-disciplined. So just acknowledge that and work around it instead of trying to kill that part of yourself. Now, another super powerful tool in this book, maybe the best thing after those two principles, as far as something actionable to act on, is deciding on your goals. So I think everybody has heard of the power of having written goals, and I've written my goals since I was a very young man. It was something my dad told me to do. In fact, it was one of my chores for a short while, writing my goals down as a 7-year-old. And this takes it a step further and asks you to decide on your goals. Deciding meaning what are you going to separate yourself from so that you can achieve your goals. Every goal has a cost involved, and so just label that. Put it out in the open. What is it you're willing to pay to achieve these goals? Now apply that however you will, but it's very powerful that you would choose the cost. Goodness, this will preach. That you would choose the cost to see the result that you desire. And I thought that was great. Now, lastly, I want to take you to 6 steps daily that they ask you to do. And I think this is just a wonderful thing. First, they ask you to pick a goal from your goal sheet. Next, they ask you to choose a launch date. Is that going to be today? And if it is, then write an action list. Even if it isn't today, your launch date, write an action list. Write some things that you can do to work on that goal, move yourself forward in that area, and also write next to it a little bit of a completion time, how long you think it'll take. If you're going to go for a jog, well, that'll take a half hour, or whatever. Add, on the same line, a reward at the end of that. Maybe you'd sit down and write a whole list of rewards, but add a reward to that once you're finished with that task, and then cross them off as you do it, and reward yourself as you go along, as you make progress. I think that's wonderful. Rewarding yourself as you make progress. In doing that, you're going to get Hyde on your side. You're going to be able to push them off until you're done because it's only for a half hour because you know how long the task is going to take. I think it's wonderful. Other things that the book goes through are fears, subconscious beliefs, and how to overcome them. Some of the subconscious beliefs that we all deal with are this idea of all or nothing. Either I'm a winner or I'm a loser. And we need to overcome that. We need to overcome the idea that it's all or nothing, and we need to embrace the idea, the belief, that I am a work in progress. I am working my way on that goal. It's not I'm fit or I'm not fit. It's I'm getting more healthy. The next subconscious belief we need to overcome is that I must be perfect. So all or nothing, and then I must be perfect. This idea that once I choose an action, I can't ever deviate from that, because if I do, then I must not work. I must not be who I said I was. And so you don't have to be perfect, and you can overcome that also. The next subconscious belief is that I can achieve my goals without discomfort, and that's erroneous. And you should choose the discomfort. Deciding on your goals, you should choose what discomforts you're willing to go through, and overcome the idea that you can achieve without discomfort, because that's just it's just kind of an ignorant statement, but sometimes we believe it. I can't change is another belief we need to overcome. Of course you can change. You're changing all the time. And the last belief you need to overcome is that something terrible will happen. And that's a pretty deep hidden one, but I've seen that with people and trying to work with them and encourage them. All of a sudden it comes up, well, I'm just sure if I do this, something terrible will happen and it'll stop me. And we need to overcome that because nothing can stop you until you decide to stop. Putting all this together, they talk about the decision stage, which is writing your goals and deciding toward them. The preparation stage, which is a little bit of what I talked about with those 6 daily steps. And then the action stage, which is doing the work. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about that I really appreciate about this book is taking time every day, this is in the action stage, every day to reflect. And reflection is so powerful, especially if you do it on paper. Reflect over your day. What did I get done? What am I proud of? What didn't I get done? And then, this is important, why didn't I get those things done? Sometimes it's going to be out of your control. Other times, you're going to see where hide showed up, where that part of you that didn't want to be self-disciplined showed up. And you're going to learn about yourself in reflection. And you're going to say, you know what? I went to this website and got distracted by a really interesting article, and then I started YouTubing these things because I wanted to learn about that, and I got distracted. And so in the future, I'm going to have to limit that. Or I was in the wrong place. I was in the wrong place and got distracted, or I was in the wrong place and something came up that I had to deal with that I shouldn't have had to deal with. And so I'm going to change that in the future. Reflection will make you a better craftsman of your self-discipline. And so I hope this is a blessing to you. I hope you like it a lot. I'm going to link to the book in the show notes. And if you like the idea of me summarizing books that I feel are very important, or other people summarizing books that they think the movement would benefit from, and I know you know that self-discipline would benefit all of us, if you like this, go ahead and go to our Facebook page. A Certain Sound is the name of the Facebook page, and leave us a comment or leave us a post there of books you'd like to see reviewed, or hey, I just like this, keep it up, or whatever you'd like to communicate to us. I'd really like to have some back and forth, is what I'd like. If you have any other questions about this book, leave them there as well. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you need anything from us, go ahead and leave a post there, or even call me. My number's on pdseagraves.com, and I'll try my very best to help you out. Have a blessed one. And again, this is not a regular episode. This is just a little bit of a bonus in the midweek, so that you can continue to be supported outside of our regular program.